If you want to make the most amount of money in anything that you're doing, you should probably look at the people that are making the most amount of money and either do what they're doing or do something similar. And in this case, we're talking about cryptocurrency. So who are the wealthiest people in crypto? They actually own exchanges. If you look at the wealthiest people in crypto right now, the majority of them own exchanges. So are you going to go on an exchange? Probably not, because a lot of regulation and a lot of work. And how can you actually benefit from an exchange similar to them? Well, you can use decentralized exchanges in order to provide liquidity, and then you make money based on volume of transactions and volume of liquidity that is then traded on that exchange. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can do that, how I'm earning hundreds of percents on my positions that I'm just holding long term. And I'm also going to talk about like impermanent loss and all the things. But in this example, we're using UniSwap V3, which UniSwap is just a decentralized exchange. It's version 3 of it, and they've made these liquidity pools super unique and very transparent, and also there's a lot of utility that you can adjust and have a lot of different alpha based on different metrics that you provide liquidity in. So let's go ahead and hop into a screen share and dive in.
The exchange we're talking about is the UniSwap Decentralized Exchange. They have almost $1 trillion in volume and over 92 million trades. So this is the largest decentralized exchange that there is. And you can see there's quite a lot of them. The list goes on and on as far as these. And typically they'll specialize, like Spooky Swap is on Phantom, Trader Joe is on Avalanche. And you'll have different types of exchanges for different types of blockchains. And now there's a new blockchain or a new exchange called Thorchain, which I'm a huge fan of because it bridges all of these different exchange or blockchains together, which is a really, really big deal. So this is a decentralized exchange that has a native bridge feature that can really bring together all the different chains into one exchange, which is a really big deal. I think this is going to grow immensely over the next few years. But you can see just how many decentralized exchanges there are. There are quite a lot to choose from. So in this one, we're talking about UniSwap, which is built on top of Ethereum. Specifically, they've released a new version 3 of UniSwap V3. Their original version was launched in November of 2018. They then came out in 2020 with V2. And now V3 allows you to have something called concentrated liquidity, which is a really, really big deal. And there's also multiple fee tiers, so you could actually select the different tiers within the fees, because you're earning a percentage of the fees based on the percentage of the total pool that you own. Anytime you see LP, that stands for liquidity pools. And what it allows you to do is you can provide liquidity with up to 4,000x capital efficiency relative to UniSwap V2, which is a super, super big deal because you can make way more money because you can concentrate your liquidity. And now you're probably asking, okay, what do you mean by way more money? Well, I'm talking about quite a lot more. We'll go look at some random pairs. So let's look at the first one. Just holding USDC ETH as a pair. If you were to invest $1,000, you'd make 125% a year just holding those pairs. Okay, now you can actually move these bounds in, and you're going to see how you can do this right on the DEX here in a second in the side of the liquidity pool. But if you move these in, let's see how that'll affect the annual percentage. Well, I guess you're not going to have much of a percentage there. So you're at 160% there. Maybe we need to move up a little bit. 222% there. If you keep moving the concentration lower and lower, you'll see that the fees will get higher and higher. So we could literally hold USDC ETH and make 489% if it continues to trade within inside of this range. All right. Now, it doesn't mean it's always going to trade within inside of that range, but if it does hold inside that range, you're every time it's in that range, you're making 489%. So I'm going to talk about how to potentially do that on a closer range. If you're holding strong ETH, you're making 10,000% a year with inside of that range. Let's go look at another one. Let's look at one we haven't. Let's look at ETH USDT. 44.9%, not bad for just holding a stable coin in Ethereum. Let's look at Matic ETH. This would be a good pair, which is 100%. Now let's increase the concentration here. We'll bring it down so we can earn, over 200% by just bringing the concentration down. That is the power of UniSwap V3, and you can also hold multiple of these different concentration zones within inside of the same liquidity pool, which I'll talk about here in a second. So it is actually a really big deal. One of the things that I look for is a sufficient amount of volume. So you really want high volume and a smaller amount of total value locked, because that means that you can have a larger share of the overall pool. So I don't want like a super small amount of total value locked. I want like something that's between ideally it's between like 10 and 50 million total value locked, and then the volume is at least a million in a 24-hour period. I would like to have volume between about 1 million and 30 million around a 24-hour period. The higher volume, the better, but you also don't want to have ultra high total value locked and also somewhat high volume, because you're just going to have a smaller amount of the pool, which just means that there's more people, pretty much taking the fees away from what you would already earn, right? So that's one of the things that I'll look for. Another thing that is really important is like in this concentrated liquidity, which we'll talk about here in a second, when you can actually bring these bounds in, and I'll show you exactly how to do it here in just 1 second, is the thing that you risk is something called impermanent loss. So like, let's say you want to hold Rune ETH, which would probably be a pretty good pair, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. Because a lot of people are buying this ERC20 token because they don't know really how to use Rune yet, and they just went live, I believe, with the mainnet, or are just going live this month. So you could hold this pair right here, but the problem is if one of the coins is like super volatile and they're not really correlated with the other coin, it can increase the chances for impermanent loss. So actually what you want is you want a really high correlation coefficient. So like Bitcoin ETH would be a really good pair because they're highly correlated. That means when Bitcoin goes up, 84% of the time Ethereum is also going up. When Bitcoin's going down, 84% of the time Ethereum's going down. So you want a higher correlation where the assets move in tandem together, because what that allows you to do is it allows you to concentrate your liquidity inside of this pair. So you can, if the coins keep moving up together, it'll stay within inside of this zone. But if one coin is really volatile to the downside, the other one's going up, well, now you have to have a really, really large range, because if not, it's going to move outside of your range, and then you're not going to be collecting fees. And what will happen is it'll actually sell all of one coin into another coin. So like, for example, let's actually look at another pair here. Let's do we'll just do the USDC ETH one, right? So these coins are not correlated. USDC holds its value because it's a stable coin for the most part. ETH fluctuates in value quite a lot. It'll go from $1,200 to $3,500, and in between quite a wide range. So the problem with that is when we're in a bear market and everyone wants to get out of risk assets, what they're doing is they're selling into USDC. So what will happen when you provide this liquidity, they will actually, when people start to sell their ETH, your liquidity pool is going to fill up with ETH, and you're going to be left with more ETH, and everyone's going to take your USDC because everyone is buying USDC and selling their ETH. So during a bear market, you're going to get a lot more ETH. You're pretty much dollar cost averaging as the market is going down, which could be good if you believe in ETH long term. But if you're holding this pair and you do not believe in ETH, you think ETH is going to zero and you're earning a bunch of ETH, well, that's stupid, right? You want to hold pairs that you believe in, and ultimately you really want and because like if you provide concentrated liquidity here, you provide this zone right here, and then ETH goes way down in value and it trades all the way down to $630 or $2,963 right here. That is out of your range. So you are not going to be earning fees now. That's why ideally you're holding a pair like ETH Bitcoin. So if you hold Bitcoin ETH inside of a certain range, and let's say that they have a really high correlation coefficient, and you can get the concentration down, you can earn 27% just holding Bitcoin and ETH together inside of a short range. So the more correlated the two assets are, the better, because then you can have more concentrated liquidity and you can earn more fees and a higher annual percentage rate, because you can narrow the concentration because they're correlated and they often trade in a certain range together. Okay, so that's something you would want to look for. So anyways, let's go ahead and actually look at how to do this. So when you go to Uniswap, what you would do is you would swap, ETH for whatever coin that you want. I'm going to actually do this pair right here, just to show you how it's done. Which let's actually look at it. I think it was up here. It's ETH Ape coin, which is the new coin for the board Ape. So this has a 1% fee. That's another thing that I look for. So I'm looking for high volume. I'm looking for somewhat low total value locked. I'm looking for a high fee, and I'm looking for a strong correlation between the coins. So all four of those things is what I'm looking for. So I can earn 354% just holding ETH Ape coin in a tighter range. We're earning 623%. So let's go ahead and do it. 623%. That sounds pretty good to me. So let's go ahead and we'll provide one ETH. Actually, let's go to pool. So you just toggle up here, pool. You can see I've tried quite a bit of different pools, and I've earned quite a lot of money through these different pools. And let's add another position here. So you click add position. You do ETH, and we're going to do Ape coin. I actually got airdropped quite a lot of this. I've moved some of it to a different place. But you can see we can bring this liquidity down, or this concentration down, and this is how you can concentrate the liquidity. And you can see these blue spikes right here, a really big blue mound that shows the most amount of volume. So this is just really a volume indicator right here. So you definitely want to provide liquidity for the most amount of volume right here, but I'm going to provide it a little bit. I'm going to provide it with inside of this. So I want to get this big a volume spike, and I also want to get the very end of this volume spike as well. And this white is where it's actually currently being traded right now. So the minimum price that I'll be earning fees on is 119 Ape per ETH, and then the max price is 357 Ape per ETH, which is quite a big range. So I feel pretty good about it. You can also select full range, but you'll obviously earn less money if you do a complete full range, because the concentration is lower. So we'll go ahead and we're in a 1% fee tier as well. So we'll go ahead and approve this Ape. Right now, we gotta approve that. We gotta approve Ape, so that's $8. That's another thing you gotta be somewhat cautious on, is the fees involved, is because you do want to hold these pairs longer term, because you do pay a fee, a gas fee, to add the liquidity, and you also pay a fee to pull the liquidity off. So let's go ahead. The gas fee is like $86 right now, so that can be pretty high for some people. So just make sure that you're providing a decent amount of liquidity. It's not a bad place to hold those highly correlated assets long term. That you want to hold just those two pairs because you believe in both assets long term. So let's go ahead and look at Ape ETH right now. And now you're going to start to see your unclaimed fees right here. And you'll see this go up and up as people are swapping ETH for Ape with inside of your range. And then you can see that I provided $8,888. And I provided 61% of that 8,888 is the Ape coin. I provided 387. And you can say I've provided 39% ETH. So if Ape starts to go up in value and more people are buying Ape, what is going to happen is this percentage will actually go down and ETH will go up. So I'm pretty much dollar cost averaging into ETH using Ape as the market or the price of Ape continues to go up and the demand goes up. But subsequently, let's say the inverse happens, Ape goes down. What's going to actually happen is I'm going to get more ETH, more ETH. Or if Ape goes down, I'm going to get more Ape, and my ETH percentage will go down. And this can go all the way down to 0. And if it does that, then I'm completely out of the range. So if Ape goes way down in value and everyone is selling their Ape, I could be left with 100% Ape and no ETH. That's why you don't want to hold a coin that you maybe don't believe in these pools, because you can get stuck with a coin that you really don't believe in, and you're losing a coin that maybe you actually do believe in, which is obviously not something preferable. So you want to be careful with what you're holding. And then this pair will continually to accrue these fees as more and more people start to swap for it, okay? And I'll show you one right now. This is like a small pair that I was just playing with. But you can see that I provided, $1,900, and I've made $59 in fees. And this was over a short period of time. But everyone was selling their Phantom. So you can see I got left with a lot more FTM because Phantom was going way down over the past, month and a half because of the news about the developer leaving the Phantom ecosystem. So everyone sold me their Phantom and they took my ETH, which is fine because I believe in Phantom. And then I'll show you how to do this. All you do, you can collect your fees and you can keep the pool here. Or if you want to actually remove the liquidity, you can increase it as well and add more to the liquidity. But I'll just remove the liquidity and I'll just remove 100% of it and hit remove, and that'll claim all of the fees. So that'll claim the fees that happened from the pool, and it'll also pull up my principal out of the original liquidity pool, and then it'll close that liquidity pool for me. So it's really that simple. There's no lockup or anything, and it's a really lucrative way to be earning quite a lot of fees. That was over a very short period of time, by the way. So you can actually earn, if you hold the right pairs that are correlated, they have high volumes, they have a kind of a smaller TVL, which is total value locked, and then you actually believe in the two coins long term, it can be a really, really lucrative way to just earn passive income that's paid inside of the same cryptocurrencies that you're holding in the pool. And instead of just holding on a centralized exchange where maybe you're earning 5% a year, you can earn, something much, much higher than that, upwards of the hundreds of percentiles just by holding those pairs.
Hope you got value from this video. If you did, let me know in the comments section below. Also, just show me by simply hitting the like button. If you have not subscribed, why have you not subscribed? It's very simple. You click one button, it's absolutely free. And if you care about passive income and cryptocurrency, I've put together the top 5 ways that we earn passive income in crypto, which you can find out some information in the description below this video. I'll see you here on this next one.